Da 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 da. Hello everybody, ScotsThinker here, and I am outdoors because I'm walking back and forth and I've little to no time to do anything, so I'm just going to talk about Ori and the Blind Forest. Why not? I was originally going to do a gameplay series of this game on this channel, but I reckon most of you have already been there and done that with watching a gameplay series of this game or playing the game for yourself. If you haven't played the game for yourself, I'd highly recommend it. I'm just going to give it an 11 out of 12 already, because it really is that phenomenal of a video game. But what is Ori and the Blind Forest about? I'll tell you. Ori and the Blind Forest is an emotionally gripping and difficult yet immersive game, which essentially plays as an action-adventure platforming open-world metroidvania game. In the game, you play as this little spirit creature named Ori, and the game hooks you in from the start with an emotional opening. Because if you don't feel any sympathy for Ori during the start of the game, then you have no soul! It tells the story of how Ori was this baby little leaf in a great spirit tree and got blown away in a great storm, but fortunately, Ori was found and raised by this motherly, fluffy marshmallow creature named Naru. They grew up together. Life was simple and happy for them. That was until this incident happened where the spirit tree tried calling out to Ori, and this great big owl, full of anger, took the power source off the spirit tree which upholds the forest, and the forest starts crumbling apart, becoming blind, so to speak. And Naru sacrifices the last of her fruit supplies to Ori as an act of pure love. And then Naru passes on, it's so sad! With nowhere to go, Ori leaves and collapses, but the spirit tree gives Ori new life, and from that point onwards you team up with another spirit thing to help you fight off these demonic monsters. On your quest to restore the forest, you reach out to help some other characters who become friends later on, and the game is excellently designed. It's intelligently designed to give you enough freedom to go along with the story, but at the same time, go along some slightly different paths if need be. It gets even more fun when you get to unlock new abilities as you journey along. Combine this with Ori's light and nimble nature, and the scenarios you get into makes for some brilliant, precise platforming challenges. Oh yes, this game is challenging, much like Donkey Kong Country Returns and Rayman Origins. Some challenges come in the form of elaborate puzzles which require good timing skills, and shuffling objects here and there. Other challenges come in the form of avoiding traps with your precise jumping skills. And the combat is somewhat simple. I mean, when you think about it, Ori doesn't actually do the fighting, he just lets the fairy friend do the fighting for him, so teamwork. In fact, this challenging, precise platforming lends itself well to some challenging chase sequences where Ori has to avoid certain flood or certain enemies that are larger than him. It's a type of situation where Gandalf would say, "This foe is beyond any of you. Run!" And the graphics, music, and pacing are beautifully made. For those of you who know me, I love this sort of nature-based art, where it looks so vibrant and colourful and organic. And as you progress throughout the game, the music does a great job at setting up certain scenarios, like how depressing the forest is when you get to play the game after the introduction. The pacing and intrigue of climbing up that wood tree, the sheer excitement of those chase sequences, the beautiful calming peace of when you finally restore the waters and you get to swim around for the first time, and the music is just so beautifully relaxing, and you have all this freedom to experiment around. How about the sheer awe and wonder of seeing this godlike spirit tree for the first time up close? Visuals, pacing, and especially the music really just captures the awe and wonder of that moment. There are many moments like that where you just sit back from the screen and just go, wow. And all this is in 3 times more, or 10 times? 10 times more engaging with the emotional story. There isn't much outside of restoring the forest during most of the game, but those cutscenes. Actually, I take that back. There's this one creature who is your enemy at first, but then you befriend him through the gameplay. Yeah, I love how the story can sometimes intermingle with the gameplay, especially in the introduction. And the more you progress in the game, the more hope there is, which gives you all the more motivation to keep on playing and unlocking new areas, especially if you've got the special edition. And I love how you could backtrack to certain areas to collect some items and other things that you couldn't before because of the state of the forest. Now, I know that video gamers often complain about backtracking just because of how how repetitious the process of backtracking can get. But I think the backtracking works in this kind of open world metroidvania game, because when you're backtracking, you know there's going to be rewards waiting for you. In fact, as I said before, there's multiple paths that you can go on. There were several times throughout the game where I noticed some other paths which led to some more challenging areas, and yet the game didn't stop me from exploring them nonetheless. There's this one area getting near Gumo's hideout where you go to the left side a bit and there's these challenging rock puzzles and this rhino. And you can keep going and keep going. You're not supposed to be there, but you can keep going. Collect the power-ups and upgrades. But you'll only go so far to the point where you'll need to unlock certain parts of the game in order to get to the other areas of the game. In fact, early on, there's one path which straight up takes you to the lava mountain, the final level of the game. And again, combined with the emotional story, I love how it uses the interactive medium to tell the stories that can only be told through interactivity. Like, you get to play as Nero multiple times. Specifically, as a start, you're caretaking for Ori, and then you play as Ori. There's some great shout-outs and homages to some of the Studio Ghibli movies like Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind and Princess Mononoke, especially with those rock creatures that go... And all the themes of restoration, redemption, and love all come full circle when, spoilers for the next 20 seconds, the big ominous owl turns out that she was just protecting her children the whole time, and she got upset when the spirit tree seemingly killed the baby owls. Because of this misunderstanding, that's why she took the power core. Things get even more emotional when Naru is resurrected by the spirit tree. Gumo comes along to help Naru, and after the final level, you get to play as Naru one last time. She runs to Ori to protect her. Further spoilers for the next 7 seconds. The owl mother realizes that her children are still alive, and she can still save the loving creatures. She restores the power core and sacrifices herself. Okay, whew. It's a roller coaster. Not the literal one, I hope. And I think this is an excellent game that you should go play. Beautiful, well-paced, well-designed, challenging, and I would have released this video just in time before the sequel came out. And already the sequel seems to be all kind of depressing because the baby owl misses her mother and seems to be the last of her kind. Poor baby owl. At least he's made friends with Ori. I don't know if the baby owl's a he or a she. Will the sequel live up to the original game? Only time will tell. Only God knows. Again, I give this game an 11 out of 12 and I highly recommend you play it. ScotsThinker signing out. See you in Ori and the Will of the Wisps.